We're here because free speech is under attack. We're here because people are being convinced that socialism works. We're here because people are being judged guilty until proven innocent. We are fighting back with facts. This is not a safe zone, so buckle up, Buttercup. This is the raw, naked truth.
Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin. In this episode, we need to talk about math. That may sound strange, but math is now a hot-button issue. Why? Progressives have been pushing back math requirements, calling math racist. Now, ironically, progressives used to be on the other end of this issue. In 1992, Mattel introduced Teen Talk Barbie, a talking Barbie doll. One of the phrases the doll uttered was, "Math is hard, let's go shopping." Women's groups and progressives were up in arms over the toy, outraged by the idea that math would be considered too hard for women. Well, apparently progressives don't get outraged by the idea that math is too hard for African Americans or Hispanics. Well, guess what? Math is hard. In fact, several years ago, most California public school students needed remedial math classes when they entered the University of California. Actually, that problem has continued to today, but California's response to this was not to improve the school system, it was to lower the college standards and get rid of the requirement for remedial math. Math professors at many universities and colleges have pontificated that mathematics is rooted in white supremacist patriarchy and white social construct. A professor at Brooklyn College, Laurie Rubel, said, quote, "The idea of math being culturally neutral is a myth because 2 + 2 = 4 reeks of white supremacist patriarchy." Now, I don't know how 2 + 2 = 4 is white, is supremacist, is anything but straightforward mathematical fact. The racism in this is that liberals believe African Americans and Hispanics are unable to do math. You will notice that there are no liberal mentions of Asians in this calculation of white supremacy. And this problem goes beyond just math. In July, Oregon Governor Kate Brown privately signed a bill ending the requirement for high school students to prove proficiency in reading, writing, and arithmetic before graduation. Brown, a Democrat, did not hold a public signing or issue a press release regarding the passing of what was labeled Senate Bill 744 on July 14th when she signed it, and the measure, which was approved by lawmakers in June, was not added into the state's legislative database until more than 2 weeks later. It was an unusually quiet approach to enacting legislation, according to the Oregonian. Clearly, while they wanted to remove this, they didn't want the public to know about it because there would have been outrage. There are a few facts to all of this that liberals refuse to admit. And the first is that the liberal slant to education over the past few decades have left many teachers incapable of actually teaching. In the 1970s, class sizes were routinely over 30 students, and students performed better back then. Now, when class sizes hit 20, teachers start complaining that the class is too big. Many teachers are more interested in pushing a socialist agenda than teaching STEM. And for those of you not familiar with STEM, and you should be by now, that's science, technology, engineering, and math. The American education system is falling further and further behind the rest of the world, and this is because we're not focusing on STEM, but instead, liberals in education are pushing critical race theory. It is more important to them to teach the idea that America is racist than to give our children the education they need and deserve. For years, this has gone on, but widespread remote learning during the COVID pandemic brought the classroom home and allowed parents to see what was actually going on. Until COVID, many parents were less involved than parents had been in past years. Parents have had to work longer hours, struggle more, and unfortunately, this split their attention. When parents started to find out what was going on and push back, the teachers' union and the Justice Department labeled parents domestic terrorists. The union has since backed off of this under intense pressure. The Justice Department, however, has not apologized or backed away from this label. So, parents trying to do what's best for their kids is the new definition of domestic terrorism. Now, this past election day, Youngkin in Virginia promised parents that every school would teach advanced math. This announcement was met with rousing applause and helped him win the race for governor. Parents want their teachers to teach. They want their kids to learn math and science. They want their kids to have the skills to succeed as adults. One professor stated that math is racist because it requires a correct answer. I want you to think about that the next time you're on a plane and the pilot and tower have to calculate the correct vectors for landing safely. Think about it the next time you step on the brakes in your car. Math was used in both of those cases. Do you really think close is good enough? Stand on the top floor of a building. Math was used to make sure the correct construction is used, so you don't fall through the floor and the building doesn't collapse under its own weight. Still think it's not important to get the right answer? We need advanced math being taught. We need sciences and STEM being taught. It is time to go back to basics, reading, writing, and arithmetic. Our kids need this to succeed. That's the raw naked truth. You can find every episode of The Raw Naked Truth at xvadio.com/podcasts. You can also find us on the Apple Podcasts app, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Audible, Amazon Music, and wherever you find podcasts. We'll see you next time.